Hello, this is Ilma from Ilma Art Studio, and here is the photograph for today. This is the Mill Creek Trail in Orangeville, Ontario, and I took this picture I think sometime 2 years ago. So I'd just like to share with you how cloud formations are so pretty here in Orangeville, and that's one thing I like about being in Canada, because you see the sky so clearly and the cloud formation, they're just amazing. So good afternoon, and this is Ilma from Ilma Art Studio channel, and today I'd like to share with you my poem devotional entitled, it's kind of controversial, Gossips Fuel Quarrels. And this is based on Proverbs 26 verse 20, which says that fire goes out without wood, and quarrels disappear when gossip stops. And so here is my poem about that verse entitled Gossips Fuel Quarrels. When you feel the urge to talk about others, just remember that they are your sisters and brothers. Whatever you spread about anyone, they can be misconstrued by someone. Gossip fuels quarrels and conflicts. It is one of the enemy's ploys and tactics. It breeds misunderstanding and division. It is like killing someone else's reputation. And here is the essay part of the devotional. Gossip generates division. A lot of people do not realize that talking ill about others is a sin. We need to learn to practice boundaries and mind our own businesses. It is best to stay away from people who engage in gossip. It breeds other sins like judging, stirring people to anger, and creating divisions. There are many verses in the Bible that cautions us to gossip. Ephesians 4:29, Proverbs 16:28, Proverbs 21:23, Proverbs 18:8, and many more. Gossip is clearly something God detests. We are told only to talk about things that will encourage others and build them up. Anything that will destroy someone should not come out of our mouths. Proverbs 26:20 likens gossip to the fire that continues to burn when there's wood. Gossip is the wood that fuels the fire. The more gossips you engage in, the more conflicts it will bring. And prayer. Lord, rend my mouth to only say honorable things. Reflection. What do you think an authentic Christian would do when they hear gossip? And that is the end of the poem and the essay devotional, and here is the witnessing part of the devotional. My mother grew up in a small island. It's called Tiliklubang Islands in Mindoro. And somehow, it's an observation. I don't want to judge anybody, but as I was growing up, I observed that a lot of people, all they do is talk about other people. And I didn't realize that it was a sin then, because nobody told me. And it became like part of the culture that, especially those people who do not have a job and who do not go, job like, they're mostly farmers and fishermen. And so mostly women, they don't work so much. So what happens is, like, I'm trying not to put down the place, because I think this happens everywhere. But I'm just sharing with you an experience as a child whenever I go on the summertime to spend time with my grandparents. So I noticed that every household will they will actually have a time to go out and chat with people, and they chat about other people, talk about somebody else. But it's only a few, recently, like just a few years, that I realized, when I started reading the Bible, that I realized that gossip is a sin. I didn't realize that, because I thought, like, I used to do that. Like, it's not really gossiping, but I used to talk about, other people that I'm having difficulty with and stuff, but I didn't realize that it was a sin. So once God revealed to me that it was a sin, then I had to stop. And I had to disassociate myself from people who only talks about other people. Because God only tells us in the Bible that the only things that should come out of our mouth are honorable things, that are pure, that are beautiful, that are encouraging. Anything that is not like that is not from God. So, it was really hard for me not to talk about, because that's one, like, I'm a thought, I always thought it seems funny, but you might probably not believe that when I was a child, until I was high school, you will never hear me say anything. I'm a very quiet, shy, and soft-spoken girl. And then I went to college and I took up communication arts, and then I got involved with theater, and that's how I was able to verbalize everything, and I learned, the other side of my personality, because I'm quiet, but I can also be noisy. Talking had become an integral part of my life after I was in the theater, and at the same time, later on, my job was to be a teacher, and I had to talk all the time. But I learned so much that there was an experience in my academic teaching years that I encountered somebody who's just always gossiping, and she's always coming up with slandering other people, and eventually somebody sued her for what she has been doing, but she has gotten away with doing that for the longest time. But she tried doing it to me, but what I did was to actually, at that time, I've been living in the Spirit for the longest time. I've always been taught by the Spirit. Like, I listen to what the Spirit of God tells me, and I've been connected to the Spirit for the longest time, I think, as I can remember, even as I was 7 years old. So, how did I eliminate it from my system? It was painful to let go of friends who are into that business of gossip. And especially when I moved to Canada, it was really hard to come by with authentic friends who really, would accept you for who you are. But this is one of the cultures that I was brought in. It's like everybody is competitive. In the Philippines, in a country of more than how many millions in one small place, you gotta be competitive. You gotta be able to talk loud, to be noticed, to be heard. Otherwise, you won't survive. You'll just be what do you call it? You won't be seen. So I guess it has something to do with the culture too. But in the God's economy, there is no such thing. There is no excuse for talking ill of other people, or even just talking about other people, unless you're talking about good things about somebody else, like. You're sharing somebody who is doing very well at something, and that encourages somebody else, and that builds up somebody. So that's a good way of talking about others. But talking about other people's problem, or talking about other people's mistake or sin, is definitely a no-no to God's economy. So with that, we end this poem devotional, and I hope that you will be able to stay away from gossip, or stay away from, minding other people's business, because that's the boundary that God has laid. Mind your own business. You don't really know what's happening to that person. And if you don't fuel quarrel with the idle talk of other people, then it stops. Conflict stops. So you live a peaceful life. And with that, I like to invite you to my website at www.ilmaarts.com, ilmaarts.com, and check my other artworks and my photographs. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you will support this home devotional channel that I have created so that I could more or less spread God's word. Thanks for watching.